Hello bakers, welcome to today's episode of the Dough Doctor. I'm your host and baking expert, Chef Colette, and whether you're watching live or on the replay, thank you. So let's get started. Pretty soon I'm going to see the audience dropping in. Hello everyone. Let me know right from the get-go, what is your favorite thing to bake or your favorite dessert to put together in summertime? All right, welcome everyone. It's so nice to see you. It is officially summer. It was summer officially. The solstice was what, 2 days ago on the 21st. So we're in it, bakers. We are struggling with hot weather in some parts of the world, super hot kitchens, and what do? How do we keep our passion and love for baking alive in warm weather months? What do? Well, we keep it hot and we keep it fast. That's how we roll, or we freeze. Hot, fast, or freeze. That's it. All right, yes, good afternoon, everyone. Black Beauty 67 is making Texas-style cobblers. Those are delicious, and they are really quick and easy to put together. And they, Black Beauty 67, tell us, what fruits have you been using in your Texas-style cobblers? Cobblers, crisps, grunts, they're all the same thing. It's where we take the best of summer fruit and we either top it with a biscuit topping, or we top it with a crumb topping, or almost like a cake batter, and we bake it up so the oven is only on for a short while, and then we have a beautiful fresh fruit dessert. Now, bakers, peaches, apricots, cherries, and plums are now rolling into season, and so they are stone fruits, right? They have a hard center, not fruits that are stoned, but stoned fruits. And sometimes it can be a challenge to get that pit out. Some fruits it just pops out, others we have to dig a little bit. I'm just going to tell you, there's an internet meme of someone getting pits out with a needle nose plier. If anyone has viewed that video, then let me know, or seen that online, let me know. I have a request for someone to join us. So bakers, I think we have a live question. So I'm gonna actually try it. If I disconnect us, then we'll just all jump on again. But I see that our baker RV Wrights has sent me a request. So let's see what happens. In 3, 2, 1, yes, she's joined. RV, do you have a question? Let's see. Wait, there's more that I needed to do. Ooh, this is exciting. The screen should split, but I don't know. We're trying it out. I accepted, so we'll see. Pistol Packing Mama from Schwartz Creek, Michigan. I'm trying to get RV Wrights to join, but it doesn't feel like it's working. So if you could put your questions in the comments, that would be great. I really don't know. Let's see if I can get Chef Daniel to join. Oh, this is going to be fun. I don't know, bakers. Maybe there's something I need to toggle. I'll have to look into that. So put a pin in that for next week, and we will see if I can get that to work. I don't know. I just don't know. All right. Okay. Yeah, Patty. All right. So we'll move on. And I thank you guys for trying to join. I really am not quite sure what's happening, but I bet it's on my back end. I'll ask my social media expert and she'll let me know what I need to do. It's probably a permission that I need to let Instagram okay. So RV's question was, can you bake something with peaches? You absolutely can. And check this out. I have peaches right here. And I'm going to demo how to put together a peach galette, which is one of the easiest ways to marry pastry and fruit together. And we're going to do that. So, oh wait, Patty says she's in, but I don't see her. I am really sorry. According to Instagram, the screen splits and I can see you guys and you can see me and everybody can see, and we banter back and forth. So I'll have it by next week, I promise. So peaches are on standby for demo. All right, everyone. So now let me get to the questions. And that was a great question about peaches. Peaches are really beginning to be, they're not peaking yet, but they're definitely here and they're excellent. I have white peaches for today's demo. And the other day when I was crafting this formula or recipe and making sure it would work perfectly for you guys, I used yellow peaches. So when the post goes live with the recipe and tutorial, in the photographs, you'll see those are yellow peaches, and today we're working with white peaches. What's the difference? Well, the flesh of white peaches is lighter, and they might just be a little sweeter. I don't know. If you think so, let me know. All right? So now let's move on to our question that came in last week. I have one question. It's summer bakers. We're not in the baking trenches at that much, but I thought this was an interesting one. So one of our bakers wrote in, she's avoiding dairy, and she wanted to know if she could use non-dairy creamer in place of milk. And that gave me pause because of all the thousands and thousands of questions I've answered. Just full disclosure, when Craftsy was booming, the platform craftsy.com, not that it isn't now, but it was seriously interactive, I would answer no less than 8 to 12 questions a day times 365 times 8 years. You guys do the math. So a lot of questions. I never got a question like that. Can you sub non-dairy creamer for milk? The answer, yeah, you can, especially if it's unsweetened. But they're better if you're avoiding dairy bakers. There are better choices out there. Now, not to throw shade at non-dairy creamer. I actually like it sometimes. It's like a treat, like Kentucky Fried Chicken or Velveeta. But it would be better to use a plant-based milk like oat milk, almond milk, soy milk. I think that's about it. Yeah, I think I covered them all. Or if you really are into plant-based milks and you make like cashew milk or you make your own nut milks, that would be a better, I said oatmeal. Yes, I did say oatmeal. That would, unsweetened, that would be a better choice if you're eliminating dairy. And as I always say I've said this many times, my favorite milk to bake with is almond milk. I feel it's just kind of the most neutral. And then of course you might be avoiding nuts. So then oat milk. Oatmeal has a really beautiful, rich creaminess to it. In fact, it's really excellent. Next time you're at Starbucks, your favorite coffee house, order an oat milk latte. They are delish. You never miss the cream at all. All right. So now we've answered that question about non-dairy creamer. I gave you my spiel on plant-based milks, which I could talk about forever. And we're going to sail into demo. So this galette, that's what they're called in French. It's a free-form, open-face pie tart. Petart. We could call it a petart because it's kind of a pie and it's kind of a tart, but it's super relaxed, which means it's great for summer. because summer is short-lived. Even in warmer climates, summer, like the really cool, wonderful, warm, sundress, easy breezy shorts and sandals days of summer, they're short-lived. Well, maybe not in Hawaii or if you live right on the equator, but definitely here in LA, even though it's a warmish climate, our summers are short-lived. So galettes are perfect for summer baking. Plus, they go well. First, they showcase summer fruits, and they go really well with how we eat in summer, right? We eat salads, we grill, barbecue, and what better than a piece of essentially free-form peach pie and a scoop of ice cream or a dollop or right out of the can, whipped cream. It's good stuff. Why don't we make a peach pie? Nobody's got time for that. So let me show you how to whip up a galette. And BTW, they can be made savory. And we're just gonna put a pin in that. But for now, we're gonna focus on sweet galettes. So I have to just step out of frame. This is what it looks like when it's done. And because it's free form and it doesn't need to stay intact during the bake, it only needs to chill an hour. I mean, that's just mind-blowing. I have stood here and broadcast the show and in my other kitchen when we started Bakers and told you about lining tart shells and chilling them overnight and all the things, all the steps to follow to make sure that your pie stays on the side, the dough stays on the side of the dish, and that the tart, the sides, your nice 90-degree, right, doesn't slide down. But all rules are off with the galette, okay? So I'm just gonna make the dough quickly. Now I'm gonna sift because I'm a sifter, right? We went through that. We've talked about that. When do you sift? When don't you sift? When don't you swift? Sift. I'm gonna sift. I like to sift for pies and tarts. And in Italian, this is a crostata. So you can throw that out at your next dinner party if you're not already in Italy, which some of you may be. So I've got unbleached all-purpose flour, and I have fallen back in love with King Arthur. It just gives me the best results, I feel. So if anybody from King Arthur is listening, I love your flour. And I bet bakers, you're gonna drop in that you use King Arthur flour too, especially the all-purpose. I'm more relaxed with bread flour. I often haul a 10-pound bag of gold medal, better for bread, into my cart. I'm okay with the bread flour from Gold Medal, but the all-purpose flour, the unbleached, the protein content is a little lighter than the King Arthur. So for me, it's not as versatile. So back to King Arthur. Not shopping around anymore. Okay, unbleached. Now my unsalted butter is cut into cubes and you're gonna keep it cold. This is gonna be a little redundant, like we've done this a lot, you know, but I wanna show you because there's a really good point I wanna make. I know that I have some folks who regularly watch the show that used to come to my on-ground classes at Sur La Table. And when we would do pie dough and tart dough, and where the liquid is the variable, we may need more, we may need less, that threw folks off. So while you're in your, summer comfort, I want to reiterate that again, because this is the point where we get messed up with pie doughs and tart doughs and crostata doughs and galette doughs. It's this point. Now, last week we had the pasta frolla, and what was really great with the pasta frolla is that the egg, everything worked. The egg was our liquid. We knew exactly how much we needed. Could you use that dough for a regular pie? Absolutely. It's a little bit more delicate, but the more you work with it, the more confident you're going to get. So I'm going to use my bowl scraper. You could use a pastry blender. I want my butter to be the size of chickpeas, okay? And if you need a refresher on chickpeas are that big. See? There we go, chickpeas, all right? So I had some, and I'm like, I'm going to pull them out and remind you guys. So we're not quite to, we're not quite to chickpea yet. I got a little bit more work to do. Sometimes we say, for a flaky pie dough in fall, I'll say the butter or fat has to be the size of oatmeal or peas. But today, for our galette, it's specifically garbanzo beans, also known as chickpeas. I'm going to be making some hummus later. I work a lot with aquafaba in my teaching at Escoffier School of Culinary Arts, and so I have chickpeas forever. Okay, so now that I'm really close, I'm going to get my little hands in there. I have cool hands. When I wrote the recipe, that's going to go live on the website, I said, you can do this if you have cool hands. If you have cool hands, you know it. If you have hot hands, you know it. Doesn't matter either way, but if your hands are hot, we don't want to melt the butter. So keep at it with the plastic bowl scraper or your pastry blender. Okay, I would say this is reasonable chickpea size. And I'm going to go ahead. Now, what's really lovely about this crostata dough, and I mean lovely, is a little bit of lemon zest. Bakers, this is entirely optional. But what it does is it gives your dough a little bit of brightness, a little bit of like, what is that? I had it pre-done in my microplane. God, this is the best invention in the whole world. Put it in the comments if you agree with me that the microplane is just friggin' fantastic. So I added a little bit of lemon zest, and I'm also going to add a bit of lemon juice. Now I have this in the recipe as 10 grams, but I'm going to show you something. So this beleaguered lemon is covered with plastic wrap because it was a half lemon stored in the fridge. And I'm going to take my cake tester and I'm going to stab the plastic wrap, and then I'm going to just squeeze the lemon, and no seeds are going to come out. You could do this with cheesecloth too. It's that old fish thing. You're like, oh, that old chestnut? Yeah. So let's recap. I have flour, sugar, salt, sifted in my big bowl. I had chilled butter, beautifully cubed, that I dotted over the surface. You saw me go at it with the bowl scraper, and then get in there with my cold hands. Warm heart, cold hands. And now we're going to add the liquid. So this is the liquid right here. Oh, you guys love the microplane. It is like, I am so happy that I didn't live before the Silpat and the microplane. All right, back to the dough. So this is our liquid, and it's 1 egg and 2 tablespoons of milk, and I beat it up really, really well. And honestly, I cannot recommend this enough, but you just get yourselves your measuring cup, you get your egg, you get your milk, you stick your whisk in there, and then between your palms, until the egg is no longer snotty, all right? You all know, I know that's not the most elegant term, but boy, when I would say it to classes, everybody would get it. The egg white is not stringy and gross. All right, so now, here's the dealio. We are only going to use part of it, but I will never torture you, ever. I think to ask somebody alone and vulnerable making a dough in their kitchen to guess is not right. So you're going to need 2 measuring cups, and you're going to take your nice fully mixed non-snotty mixture and you're going to measure a 1/4 cup just like this. Okay. And you know, you got to scoot down and make sure it's right. You can't just look from on high because it won't be accurate. And this little bit, we're going to brush on our galette before it goes in the oven. Oh, and you know what? I better preheat the oven. $375, and I've got a rack right above center. All right, so you guys clear? I measured off a 1/4 cup, 57 grams, 2 ounces, and that should be, if our butter is the size of chickpeas, and we've released, by getting it to that size, we have released enough moisture into the dry ingredients that this will be enough liquid, all right? Right over the top, make sure you get all of it. Bowl scraper, and just like we've done several times, we're gonna start to mash and fold, mash and fold. Keep going. It's like, it looks like it's not working, it's still really dry, but keep going. And then what I want you to do is scrape the bowl scraper, and you're gonna keep going at it. Lift, press, lift, work that liquid through the dry ingredients. The butter's gonna break down a little bit. I'm building in some really nice layers, okay? And when it looks almost dry, like this, okay? So it's definitely, even though there's some powder, a little bit of powder, we're good. We don't need to add any more liquid. As long as I have been doing recipes for public consumption, I have tried to make it exact, because I remember what that felt like, that guessing and getting it wrong. It sucks. I test a lot, I get things wrong a lot, and then I fix it before it goes to you. Okay, so now I'm gonna get my hands in there and I'm gonna press to the bottom, okay? And then I'm gonna lift and drop, and I'm gonna press again. Just use my hands, who cares? Because they're cold. Clean. Well, we're done. And then we're going to use our old friend fraisage, where we use the heel of our hand to push any rogue pieces of dough into the mix. We're going to smack it. And then we're going to wrap it in plastic wrap. And the minimum is an hour. So that's good news. Bakers, what if somebody, I mean, you know, people are more mobile this time of year. They might come to visit. And you're like, holy cats, what am I going to make for dessert? You have a bowl of soft peaches on the kitchen counter. You know you have a stick of butter. And you just quickly excuse yourself and whip up a batch of galette dough. Throw it in the fridge. And really, in a very short time, you can have a really great dessert. So let's fast forward and pretend our hour is done. And we've just taken our very pretty dough out of the refrigerator. Now this galette serves 8, so I'm going to roll it out into a 12-inch circle, okay? So that means I have bench flour, because I'm going to roll it out in flour. This is not a parchment paper rolling out deal. And I've got my rolling pin. And remember, we work with the flour, not in the flour. I really am hoping that I'm in your head when you're rolling out dough. You hear me. She said, in the flour, with the flour, not in the flour, with the flour, not in the flour. I guarantee you'll have success. And by the way, I didn't finesse that one because we're live and I want to be mindful of your time. But you can see this one. I actually, once I got it in the plastic wrap, I rolled it to like a 1/2 inch thick. And now I'm going to roll it into a 12-inch circle. But there's more. Wait, there's more. My pan preparation, back of a sheet pan, shiny side down, buttered foil. Buttered foil. This sucker likes to stick, and we don't want to eat aluminum foil. Though, I do think it passes right through us, but that could be disturbing. And it can't be great. Okay, so now, you're going to have your ruler or your tape measure. Right now we're at 6.5 by 6.5, and we want to get to 12. I will shape it formally on the sheet pan. So just, hold on. And then the filling is actually done, and I'm going to talk about it in just a second. Because there's one ingredient, if you're baking with summer fruits, I really recommend you order because it's superior to flour and cornstarch, and that's the instant clear gel that we've talked about a couple times. You can order it directly from King Arthur Flour, or you can order it from Amazon, however you like to order your ingredients. Okay, now let me show you what I'm doing. I'm making sure that it's not sticking. This is kind of a fragile dough because the sugar, it's not a lot of sugar. And when we were working with the pasta frolla, it was very forgiving because the sugar, the high amount of sugar helped. So this is a little fragile, but not game-changing fragile. You guys can definitely handle it. Okay, let me just make sure I'm in frame. It's always a good thing. Okay, all right. So let me just grab the ruler. Nope, we gotta go a little bit more. We are 1/8 of an inch thick on this, okay? 1/8 of an inch thick. Make sure you have flour down. And if, you can flour your pin, doesn't matter. However you like to roll when you're rolling dough is fine. All right, so we're gonna check Baker's 12 and 12. I'm a little shy here. You guys can't see it, but I got a hole. So I'm just gonna go edge to edge. Okay. It's not a perfect circle. I could pull open this drawer, which is right here, and I could get a pastry wheel and I could make it perfect. But I am going to resist my inner perfectionist, and we're just gonna get this on the tray. I'm gonna fold it in half. I'm gonna pull the tray forward, I'm gonna fold it. It's wanting to tear. And I'm gonna put it on the tray and I'm gonna open it up. Look at that. I got a hole, but I'm just pinching it, okay? All right, if you cannot get your inner perfectionist to back off, you could go around the edge and make it perfect, all right? But I want to really stress that that's not necessary. So I have my peaches here, and we're gonna talk filling really quick. And you can also put it in the fridge at this point and do what you need to do and then come back. So I have my filling and I'm using instant clear gel. And I have found that instant clear gel, the amount is about 20% of the sugar that you're using, all right? Whereas cornstarch is 35% of the sugar, all right? So with this, even though many websites say that they're 1 for 1, in my testing, I found that if I did 1 for 1, instant clear gel to cornstarch or flour, it was a little too thick. So and I'm going to stick to it. And I think I'm onto something. I should contact those people. Okay, now if your fruit is very sweet, and I want you to taste your fruit and determine the level of sweetness, you're going to use less sugar. If it's not very sweet, and this is the great thing about galettes, you can use very ripe fruit, or you can use slightly less ripe fruit. And you're going to make that determination. And then you all know what goes well. Peaches and nutmeg are good partners. Peaches and cinnamon are good partners. Peaches and vanilla are good partners. It's like peaches could have 3 marriages, like me, you know? 3, yeah, sorry, I digress. Anyhow, you can jazz them up however you like. You could even be exotic, and you could do a little 5-spice powder, little cardamom. You know, the sky's the limit. You can custom flavor your, the filling. Chef Daniel, he's echoing. He likes the cardamom. Thank you, Chef. I agree. Cardamom is so, boy, if you like it, it's really evocative and just a lovely, lovely spice. So have at it, bakers. Enjoy yourselves. You know, keep a light hand with the spices, but you can certainly add your favorites. And Pistol Packing Mama is saying that rustic is good, and I heartily agree. These are not supposed to look, they're not all tailored. They're casual, fun, and delicious. They are best the day they're made, but they can be, leftovers can be reheated. You want to store leftovers in the fridge, but really, bakers, are there going to be leftovers? Nah. So I'm probably wasting my breath. So how far? So your filling should stop 1.5 inches from the edge, okay? And if you use the instant clear gel, you'll see it take on like an applesauce type texture, and that's normal. And you'll see it in the instructions. You want to mix the clear gel with the sugar. Here's what's going to happen. When whatever fruit you decide, you're going to taste it, determine the amount of sugar, then you're going to divide that amount in half. Half is going to go on the fruit, whatever it is, and it's going to sit, you're going to toss them together, and I had done that off camera, and it's going to sit for a half hour because sugar draws out moisture. So it's going to draw out some of the liquid from the fruit. Then you're going to mix your cornstarch or your instant clear gel with the second sugar, and I dump that in pretty much at the end, but that can sit for a while too. The instant clear gel is instant, and you guys can see that my filling has begun to get a little thick, but not too thick, all right? And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna fold, it's 1.5 inches, so you can flatten out your filling. I need to flatten out a little bit. And the other thing, 2 things before I start pleating, if your fruit is underripe, you can put a layer of jam in the bottom, something that coordinates with your fruit. And then if you are worried about too much juice, a layer of crumb topping, like if you got some streusel in the freezer, it's always a good idea to have a little bit of streusel or crumb topping in the freezer. It will keep for months. You could sprinkle some underneath. In a pinch, breadcrumbs or graham cracker crumbs will work. And then Chef Daniel said, should you salt a little? My gut says no. I have salt in the dough. But if you want sort of a sweet, salty vibe going, sure. Again, once you learn technique, bakers, you're the chef in your kitchen. So now what I'm gonna do, working so you guys can see, I'm gonna fold the crust over the fruit. My dough is warming up, so it's quite fragile, but we're just gonna move forward. That's it. Super cash. We're done. Well, we're almost done. And remember this, our remaining milk and egg. I'm going to brush the crust and then sprinkle it with a little sugar. Another thing you could put in the bottom is frangipan or almond filling. If you did the galette and then a little bit of almond filling, or even just almond paste and plums on top, that would be like, people would talk about that galette for years. Oh, that's a reminder. I did skin these peaches, but I think you can get away. Peaches, the skin is kind of leathery when it's cooked, so it's gotta go. I dropped them in boiling water, cut an X at the bottom, dropped them in boiling water, threw them in cold water, and the skins just slipped off. It was about 45 seconds in boiling water. And I'm gonna just grab my sugar. Oh, by the way, you can vary your sugars in the fruit filling. If you wanted to use light brown sugar, even if you had a nice light cinnamon sugar, that would really make for some gorgeous spiciness. Woo, there's a thought. All right, bakers, so here we go. We have our beautiful galette. It's gonna go in the oven. I found they're taking about 40 minutes to bake at 375. And I totally agree, Belgian or Swedish sugar, you know, would be super sexy. Swedish sugar and Belgian sugar is a solid white opaque sugar that is super cool. And then Patty turbinado sugar. I have turbinado in here somewhere, but I forgot to pull it for demo. So again, 35 to 40 minutes. We're looking for a beautiful all over golden brown bake. We don't want to be too close to the bottom of the oven because this will get too hot. Shiny side down, because the shiny side conducts more heat than the dull side, and we don't want to tan our galette, we just want to bake it. You could also do parchment paper, that works fine as well. All right, so bakers, that's pretty much it. This is how it's assembled. I will post probably late tomorrow on the website, bakingwithcolette.com, all about the instructions and tutorial. Next week, Remember, I don't know if you remember, I'm sure she remembers, our baker Patty had requested scones. So I'm going to teach you a quick and easy scone recipe in the mixer. So scones even quicker, all right? And I'll try to choose a really great summer flavor for our scones. Finally, this is a master recipe. Once you learn the technique, remember, you're the chef in your kitchen. If you have any friends who enjoy baking, please tell them about the show and ask them to join us. All right, bakers, I will see you next week right here at noon Pacific. And last thing, questions, questions, questions all week long. Happy baking!